Hi guys, welcome back to the Hangry Woman YouTube channel. I am Mila and today I'm going to be talking about things that I have learned in this past decade of blogging. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so that you can get more blogging tips, food, cooking videos, whatever I post. I think I might start doing vlogs at some point again. I don't know. YouTube hasn't really been my thing, but here I am trying it again. So anyway, let's get started. So a lot of you know that I started blogging about 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, in about 2009. And since then, I have had good and bad luck with blogging, ebbs and flows. There have been so many times where I just thought, like, I don't know if I'll keep doing this, and I don't know if this is something that I like and that I want to do, because I love creating content and I love making videos and making blogs and writing recipes that are really helpful for people. But at a certain point, you start to get to a place where you feel like it's just hard and you don't know why you're doing it anymore, and you really just, you want to keep doing it, but it becomes something that feels almost like a burden, or it almost feels thankless sometimes. And I think a lot of writers and creators feel that way, but there are lots and lots of things that are great about writing and great about having your own platforms and creating content that you love to create. You can go back and look on my YouTube channel and see the videos that I started when I had just my cell phone and no lights, and I was like reviewing lipstick swatches and, you know, just trying to figure out what direction I wanted my channel to head in. And I kept thinking to myself that if I had just kept going, I probably would be in a space where I'd have more videos and they probably would have gotten better quality over time. But I stopped and kind of thought about what I wanted to do, and this is the result of that, you know, thinking through all of these lessons that I've learned. So I want to walk through with you some of these lessons and why they're really important, and just kind of show you that it's okay to try and try and try and fail and fail and fail, and at the end of the day you'll create something that you love and something that is amazing and works really well for you. Blogging itself does not come easy. Creating content that people really love to see, building an audience, getting people to listen and to pay attention, these are all so difficult. And one of the biggest things that I learned in this process of 10 years of blogging and making videos, not successfully making videos, but definitely successfully blogging, is that you have to be gracious. Be excited and be happy when someone comes to you with an opportunity. And maybe the opportunity isn't paid, maybe it's just product, or maybe they want you to just review something, but be happy that somebody is approaching you and saying that you have the audience and you have the expertise to be able to talk about these things. Say thank you to the people who want to work with you, and don't forget them in the process, because they're the reason that you're gonna end up being able to build bigger and better content for your audience. Building relationships is my next tip. It is so hard to go at this alone. It's so hard to do this in a silo, do it by yourself. So find people who are just amazing at creating content, who are willing to help you, willing to talk to you, and build those relationships. Ask what they need. Ask what kinds of things you can help them with. And don't expect anything in return, but just be there to build a relationship. And in the future, they could come back to you and maybe need something, or they could be somebody who is a helping hand. There are a group of bloggers, actually two groups of bloggers. There are some diabetes influencers that I am kind of like in a group with, and as well as these amazing Black bloggers in Houston, and they're all these like great women who have wonderful blogs and do beautiful work. And the purpose of being in these groups is not necessarily because I think, oh, if I am in these groups and I help someone, they're gonna help me. If you scratch my back, I scratch yours. No, the point is to build relationships. And I know that I can depend on someone else when I need feedback, or if I have something that I just want people to kind of take a look at and tell me what they think about it, I know that I have people there. So I think building relationships is really important, and those relationships, again, will kind of help you extend your network and also be able to grow what you're doing in terms of content on your channels. My next tip is to get help. Figure out what you need to help you. and get help doing it. Whether that is something in your workflow that's gonna help you and creates an automated process for you, or if that's people, if that's staff, if that's like somebody that's just an extra helping hand, ask for help and get the help. Because trying to do it alone gets really tough. When you're trying to do so many things to grow your platforms and grow your presence, that definitely gets difficult. So you want to have some helping hands nearby. It goes along with building relationships. If you can build some relationships with people who trust you, you trust them, those are also people that you can get to lend a helping hand when you need it. Next, be willing to learn and have humility. So just because you are growing really quickly and you have a lot of followers, it doesn't mean that you know everything. And this landscape of blogging and being an influencer and social media, it changes so much and so often. So be willing to actually learn, be willing to dive in deeper and to explore something that you haven't explored before. You don't want to keep going with the status quo because you're going to get left behind if you do that. So always be open-minded, be willing to be able to look at something else and say, like, I haven't tried it this way traditionally, but let's try it and let's see what it does. And you'll be really surprised that just learning and taking that extra step will really help you. Some of the ways that I have learned, because like I have a career in social media management, community management, social media marketing, courses have been really helpful for me. And granted, I don't have like $1 million to take every single course in the world, but I really think about what I want to learn and I think about what's going to be good for my business in the future. And when I'm thinking of those things, I look out for resources and for courses that may be helpful in those capacities. So right now I'm taking this really great course. I've taken it one time already and I'm just going through it again. It's called Stupid Simple SEO. And it's a great course that's just teaching me the basics of SEO, giving me a refresher, reminding me of things that I need to do for my blog, and really how to track all of the things that I'm doing, because in the next year I want my blog to grow, I want it to be bigger and to be better, and so I'm investing in tools like that that are going to help me. So thinking of things that will help you learn and help you grow, whether you invest in those things with hard cash or if there's something that somebody else can teach you, if you can look to somebody who you think will give you the time and can teach you something that you don't know. Learning is always good. It's always a positive aspect of growing your community, growing your blog, growing your influence. When you learn and you take the time to learn and you step away from thinking that you know everything, it really changes things for you. This happens to be my favorite, and it's that your number of followers do not mean a thing. I have learned this over and over. I feel like people focus on that number, they focus on the number of people who are on that number in your account, but honestly that doesn't mean anything at all. I think what is more meaningful is the people who engage with you regularly, the people who are sticking with you, who are looking at the way that your content is changing and who are growing with you, and those are more important than just the number of followers on your profile. You want people that are engaging, you want people that are taking the time to comment, and so you could have 100,000 followers and have 3 people commenting, and what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. So really take the time to learn and understand your community, and don't focus on that follower number, because truly it doesn't matter. Brands will work with creators and influencers of any size, and what really matters, what truly matters, is how engaged your audience is and how willing they are to take an action from you. I think when people just look at that follower number, they think that that is the most important. And sometimes that counts. Sometimes that counts for a lot, but I think what is more interesting and more relevant is truly how many people engage with you rather than how many follow. My next tip is to give back more than you take. So a lot of times as a part of the community, you want to be sure that you're contributing, that you're not just taking, pulling everything that you can learn from somebody and then running. You want to take the things you learn, absorb them, put them into practice, but then also be willing to teach someone else, also be willing to give the same hand that was given to you. And that's really important. I think people see that a lot, and people have a reputation for what they take rather than what they are willing to give. And I think it's really important that people give back to the community just as much as they pull from it. I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from this year is that it's okay to invest in yourself. It's okay to say, I want to learn something, I want to do something, I want to go to a conference, I want to travel, I want to buy ads because I want to build my platforms and grow my community and reach more people. And I think it's okay to invest in those things. It's okay to spend money on things that are gonna give you a return later, whether that's in something you learn, whether that's a monetary return, whether that's a relationship that you build, whether it's a brand you get to work with. I think it's really important that you take the time and you take the money that it sometimes does require to be able to grow your platforms and enhance what you're doing. The more that you invest in yourself, the more you get back. And there is one caveat to that, I feel like, and really the caveat to that is you've got to invest in the right things. So I mentioned that I'm taking this SEO course, and I am doing that because I want to learn something new, but I'm also doing that because it's a direct investment in my business. If I put these things into practice and I get these theories and I work with them with my blog, eventually I'm gonna see some kind of return either in my traffic, which will increase my ad revenue, or because I have higher traffic, I'll be able to work with different brands. So I think it's really important that if you are going to invest in yourself, which you should, you make the right investments in yourself because those will pay dividends later down the line. My next tip is to blog because you love it and not for the money. But know that there is a lot of money to be made as a blogger, and when you do it because you love it and you're not just chasing the dollars and the partnerships and the clout behind your name, you're doing something that is actually good for the world. You're doing something because it's a part of your core value system and because you want to share something with the world that nobody has ever shared before. And I think when you find something that you love, you never get tired of doing it. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a burden. It feels like something that you just want to do day in and day out. For me, for example, I love cooking, I love making recipes, I love sharing those recipes with my friends and family, and then talking about how it fits into my life with type 2 diabetes as somebody who is pretty young. And so I love doing those things. They're a part of my everyday life, and sometimes they feel like a burden because I have so many decisions that I'm making in one day and I get tired and I am done and I'm over it, but I've never once felt like I wanted to throw in the towel and like I wanted to just stop doing this. So I think it's really important when you're thinking about the content that you want to create and you're thinking about making a blog long term, that you're also thinking like, is this something that I love? Is this something that I never want to go out of my life? And is this something that is fun for me to do? And when you start thinking that way and you start creating content around the things that you love, like I said, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like something that is special to you that you're getting to share with the world. So it's really important to find something that you love and do something you love, and don't always think about doing it for the money. That will come. That is something that is, I think, a part of the equation when you do it long enough and you have compelling content. But really find the thing that you love and stick with that and share that with the world. Next, saying no is an option. So I just kind of talked about how there's some times where I get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed with the full-time job I have. I get overwhelmed with the full-time blog job I have. I get overwhelmed with consulting. I get overwhelmed with just living my life on a daily basis and feeling like every moment of every day is taken up and I don't have any time for me and for myself. And when I get to that point, I always realize that I can pump the brakes. I can just say, stop, no, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. And that's okay. Saying no is an option. I think when you start to get to a place where your blog is like at the tipping point and it's really successful and people are expecting content from you, people are expecting you to keep writing and to keep doing all the things that you're doing, truly it starts to feel really overwhelming. And when you get to a point where you are overwhelmed and when you are at that tipping point, it's okay to say, no, I need to stop. I don't want to do this right now. I will get to it, but I need to take a couple days for myself. It's also okay to say no to partnerships that don't fit in with your core values. So I had an ice cream company approach me a few weeks ago, and as much as I love ice cream and as much as I would have loved to do that partnership, I just felt like at this time in my life where I'm sharing kind of like the healthy ways that I'm living, those indulgences are okay for sure, and I still eat ice cream, of course, but to me, that's not a core value of what I'm sharing at this time. And so being able to say no to opportunities like that, even if they will pay really well and they're just a great opportunity overall, I think is really important, because when you start to take everything, you don't necessarily reflect the values that you're sharing with your audience. My super favorite is that you will not make everyone happy, so do what makes you happy. You're not always going to share the right content with people. You're not always going to share something that everybody enjoys. You're not going to share something that everybody loves. But if you're doing the content that you like to do and you're happy with that, it makes a world of difference. When somebody judges something that you're happy with, you can still kind of sit back and say like, I'm okay with that. And just know that you're not going to make everyone happy. I have recipes where 100 people say that it's the most amazing recipe that they've tried. It's so delicious, it's so great, they had great results, they loved it. And then one person says, nah, I really hated this and you did a horrible job on this recipe. And you kind of just have to shrug your shoulders. You have to ask, like, what could I have done differently? What didn't you like about it? But at the end of the day, like, everybody's tastes are different and you're not gonna please everyone. So it's okay to do that, but as long as you're focusing on the content that you love and doing things that really excite you, I think those things and those critiques and those criticisms make you stronger, but at the same time, you can still be happy with the things that you produce because they came from a place of something that you were really excited about. My next tip is that it's okay to grow and change. For the last 3 years, my blog has been focused on places in my city to go hang out and to eat and the best dishes to get when you're there. And I love that stuff. I love going out to eat. I love hanging out in Houston. I love getting to go try the newest restaurant. Those are some of my favorite things to do. But I also realized that my heart was tugging me toward developing more recipes and writing more like foodie content that is based on things that I'm cooking in my own kitchen that I love, that I'm having fun making, and that I'm experimenting with. And that's where my blog started, and it moved away from that because I was getting so many invites to restaurants and I was going to so many places. But it has shifted again back toward, I think, where my heart is leading me, which is like this recipe development area. And I'm growing and I'm changing in that way. And I kind of said this on Instagram the other day, and some people might not want to stick with me through that. Some people may be like, I was just here for the food stuff. Love what you do, it's great, but now I don't want that. I don't want to see you cooking. I really want to see like where you're eating out, and that's okay. Like, I feel like if I have to lose people who aren't interested in what's new, but I gain a new population of people who are really excited about cooking and really excited about what's going on in my kitchen, then I'm okay with that. And I feel okay with that growth and with that change. And even though it's hard, and even though that's where I've kind of like built my platforms on for the last 3 years, is this kind of like restaurant, dining out, you know, like living life in Houston kind of thing, I really find that it's okay that I'm making this shift and I'm growing and I'm changing, because I'm, again, going back to doing what you love. I'm doing something that excites me again. I'm doing something that is fun for me, and I feel like that's probably like the most important thing that you can do. So I think when you grow and when you change and you decide to do that, it's okay that you decide to do that, and you'll see that you're just even happier with the content that you're creating when you do that. My next tip is to soak in every single experience. I have gotten the chance to do so much in my little blogging life, especially in the last 3 years as things have expanded and grown for me. I've gotten to go to Copenhagen. I have taken like beautiful trips to Lake Tahoe and Carson Valley. I've gotten to go to San Francisco. Like, I've gone all over the country, and I've gotten to do these like beautiful talks, and I've gotten to be on panels, and I did a talk in Copenhagen where I was like on a stage in front of all of these people, and it was awesome. And those experiences are things that I can never take for granted. Those are things that I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life, and those experiences would have never happened if I would have never started a blog. So I think appreciate and soak in every moment that you get to do something that your blog allows you to do, because blogging can be amazing, and it can have these like beautiful, it can give you these beautiful memories in your life that you would never have gotten if you hadn't started a blog or hadn't been blogging. My last tip about blogging and what I've learned in this past decade that I've been doing this is to just do it. People are scared to hit publish on that first post online, but that first post that you create is the start of the rest of your life. I have honestly never been afraid of hitting that publish button. I have been doing it since the day that I started blogging. I was sharing my blogs on my social media pages. I was like pushing anybody that I could get to read them, and you know, my mom and my best friend literally were the only people, honestly not even my mom, like really my best friend was the only person that was reading my blog and that was taking it seriously. And now it's become this thing that like tens of thousands of people come to every month. And if I would have hid behind that first post and I would have never just started and just did it, I would be in a completely different place by now. And that's also why I'm kind of doing this YouTube thing, because I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not, I mean, not that I'm not excited, but I'm not comfortable with it. And I know that if I just hit the record button and I just do it and I just put it online, I mean, what's the harm? You know, what's the harm in spending time, and what's the harm in doing it? I feel like putting that first step forward and making the commitment to just pushing publish that first time, that will start the ball rolling, and that will be the thing that just gets you going and going and going and going. So really just do it, and don't give up if your best friend is the only person who reads it, because they might be for a really, really long time. For 7 years, my best friend was the only person that read my blog, and it's only in the last 3 that now I have like hundreds of thousands of page views a month, and that people are actually paying attention. So don't be discouraged by the number of eyeballs. Again, the number of followers doesn't matter. The number of eyeballs doesn't matter. What matters is that you're creating content that you love and that you stick with it. And when you do, you will see the return like a millionfold. Like, it will just be amazing for you. Alright guys, so that's it for my video. I really hope that you enjoyed learning about the few things that I've learned in this last decade of blogging. I really enjoyed sharing them with you, and I appreciate you watching. If you did like this video and you want to see more like it, please give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel. I am going to be producing lots and lots of food videos in the next year and just kind of changing up my strategy. I talked about growing and changing, and one of the ways that I'm growing and changing is really focusing in on video and just taking it by the horns, even though I am so uncomfortable with it. So again, I really appreciate you coming and watching this video. If you've gotten this far, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for sticking around and for watching. Again, hit like, subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.